This is Sparta!
Broadcasting live from WOYK's downtown studios at Santander Stadium. Talking York's home teams. Welcome to York College Spartan Sports Weekly on Sports Radio 1350 WOYK. Now, here are your hosts of Spartan Sports Weekly, Darrell Henry and Scott Guise.
And welcome in, everyone. Another Monday, another show. Actually, this is our first one in a couple of weeks. Hope you had a good deer hunting Monday last Monday.
And good Thanksgiving, of course.
That too. As we welcome you to the next edition of York College Spartan Sports Weekly. And Scott, a lot to get to on this show. And this is like the coaches' show here this week. You were a busy bee this morning.
I was.
4 different coaches on this week's program.
Yep, tried to get everybody covered there. It was a busy week, busy weekend this weekend, and want to give everybody a little bit of love, and it was good to hear from everybody.
Well, by the way, tonight we are taking up to 7 p.m. Sixers basketball as they host the Spurs, and then we'll join Monday Night Football in progress at about 9:30, Cowboys and Redskins, and then our next Spartan broadcast is Wednesday night, women's basketball at home at 6 p.m. against Goucher. We'll be on at 5:55 coming out of the herd. And then next Saturday, doubleheader at home against Mary Washington as well. So a big week ahead. And Scott, we start this program with some big news, a major announcement, a major award.
A major award. Allie Posey, sophomore from Red Lion, Pennsylvania, Red Lion High School, was named NFHCA All-American this week. Actually came out today. She's a third-team pick. First time in the 48-year history of the field hockey program that we have had an NFHCA All-American. So she had an absolute fantastic year, 18 goals, 41 points. It was the 4th highest goal total in the region, 5th highest point total. She nailed 4 of her 5 penalty strokes during the year, had a pair of game-winning goals for the Spartans. And the good news, she's only a sophomore.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, she's a fantastic player. And, you know, the one thing with Allie is she's such a good kid. She's a hard worker. She's a good leader. She got a lot better as over the course of the year, which is hard because she had a great freshman year too. You know, in 2 years, she has 69 points on 30 goals and 9 assists. That's some pretty impressive numbers. And, you know, I think she's just going to keep getting better. She's a kid that doesn't want to is not satisfied for where she's at. She wants to keep working. She wants to keep getting stronger and better and faster. And she's already a really talented player, but it's a talented player who continues to improve. So it's, you know, certainly the sky's the limit for her next 2 years. And, you know, I know one of her goals is to be better as a team. And I think that's one of the things that we had a pretty good season this year, but you know, I think the emphasis is, you know, trying to win a conference championship and earn an NCAA tournament berth.
I know you're at every home game. Does she just like stand out head and shoulders above everybody?
She's so good just because she does a number of different things really well. She hits the ball as hard as I think I've ever seen a field hockey player hit the ball. I would love to see how far she can hit a golf ball. Seriously, the strength in her forearms and wrists and the way she can get through a ball and hit it with such I mean, sometimes it looks like it's just exploding off the stick. But she's added other elements to the game. She's a great stick handler. You know, there were a couple times this year where she would push back late in games that we had a lead and play defense because she's such an outstanding stick handler that she could keep possession and carry the ball forward. So it's a lot of fun to watch her play. You know, and another thing is as we continue to get better offensively with the pieces around her, that's just going to help us as a team, and she's going to be able to make plays. She's going to be able to create for others. So she doesn't have a ton of assists her first, 2 years, but she also hasn't had the surrounding cast that I think she'll have moving forward, and she can be a really dangerous weapon. And it's just impressive to watch her. She's a great athlete. She's a natural leader. She just does a lot of great things.
Well, that news came out earlier today, so we start the show with that. And congratulations to Allie. That's awesome. All-American status. And before she was starring at York College, she was making a name for herself, obviously, in this area in high school, as you mentioned, from Red Lion.
And it's great to continue to get local talent. You know, if we can keep some of these really good student athletes who are York County kids here. That's great for us. It's great for them. I think one of the attractive things for our local student athletes are, your parents are going to get to drive 15, 20 minutes and get to see you play every home game. And then, the travel and the conference isn't too bad. They're going to get an opportunity to see a lot of games played. So I think for kids that's important too. It's a great option. York is certainly a great option, not only athletically, but academically as well.
Well, now we look back at a pretty busy weekend, Scott, and we'll start with women's basketball, who stayed perfect. And over the course of the full week, they picked up 2 more wins, not just the weekend game, but at home against Wesley on Wednesday, and kind of a sloppy start in that one, but really finished strong, I thought, and cleaned some things up. And then Saturday they pretty much ended up on cruise control at Southern Virginia, so 2 fairly lopsided wins for them during the week, and rolling along at 6-0 now.
Yeah, and it's, in all honesty, if you look at the stats and look at the way we've played, to be 6-0 is kind of ridiculous. We turn the ball over a lot. We don't shoot it great. We haven't shot. I shouldn't say we don't shoot it great. We have not shot it really well during the course of the year. We've been pretty bad at the free throw line. But the 2 things that we're doing a great job of, we're rebounding and we're playing good defense. And, coaches always say this, defense travels. No matter where you are, if you play good defense, you're going to have a chance to win the game. We got to clean a lot of things up. And they're getting, it's not like the kids aren't aware of it. It's not like the coaches aren't aware of it. It's just a situation where, if we play the way we played this Saturday against Mary Washington, we're going to lose by 30 points. Yeah. That's just the end. I understand Southern Virginia plays a different style. I get that. But when we start playing some of the stronger teams on our schedule, we're going to have to play better. And in all honesty, I wouldn't be surprised if we did that.
Yeah.
I think this is a team that will rise to the occasion. And certainly you can't forget about the test. There's going to be a pretty stern test on Wednesday night against Goucher. So they need to be ready for that, and then get ready for Mary Washington on Saturday. So, in the interview we'll hear here shortly, Coach talked about wanting to go to the break 8-0. If you're 3-0 in the league and 8-0 at that point in time with a win at home against Mary Washington, we're going to be in pretty good shape. But there's a lot of games that kind of line up right after the start of the second semester that are pretty substantial. So it's one of those things. We're in a great position now. But remember, last year we started 0-6 in the league, and we're able to come back. So good starts are great, and they're certainly better than being 0-6. But we got to keep taking care of business and continuing to move forward and continue to play well.
Yeah, and to your point that they might just get locked in against a tougher opponent and play a cleaner game. We kind of saw that in the Coaches versus Cancer tournament that first night. It was,
right.
It was
hard to watch. It wasn't very good.
It was, and then the second day against McDaniel,
played much better.
They had to, and they did.
Yeah, I think it'll be. Obviously Mary Wash is going to be a great test on Saturday, and the thing that I think Mary Washington does or has historically done very well is they defend and they rebound. So if we can do that, it could be a very low-scoring game. However, you got to be able to take care of the basketball. The one thing that I think in watching this team that is worrisome is the fact that we struggle to take care of the basketball. Now, we're averaging 71 points a game, which is pretty solid. We're also turning the ball over like crazy, which you would think wouldn't correspond. But, they're averaging 14.7 assists per game and 23.2 turnovers per game. Now they're forcing 28, which is good, but you're also, it's one of those things where you're kind of like, we've got to do a better job of taking care of the ball and give ourselves more possessions. Because if we're not going to shoot, if we're going to continue to struggle from three and maybe continue to struggle from the field, because we shoot the ball okay from the floor, but we have good shooters. But you got to maximize those possessions by not turning the ball over. It was easy for me to say.
Leaving a little meat on the bone, but still.
Well, and
still 6-0.
I mean, one of the positive things is we're running really good offense.
That's true.
The offense, we're getting good shots. It's not like we're shooting a bad percentage because we have to jack stuff up at the end of shot clock. That's not it at all.
Yeah.
In fact, I think we get some really good looks during the course of a game, and we're just just not quite finishing the way we're capable. I mean, how many layups have we missed this year that, haven't hurt us yet? But when you do that against a good team, it's really, really tough. And I feel bad. It probably sounds like I'm being very negative for a 6-0 team, but that tells you the potential of this group with a lot of sophomore, a few juniors that play, a bunch of sophomores. This team has tremendous potential. It was funny because Wayne talked on the show on Saturday about, he kind of sees it as a Final Four type situation with the number of local kids we have, because when we went to the Final Four with the men, we had a bunch of local kids. We have a bunch of local kids on this team. I'm not sure we're a Final Four team, and certainly not this year. I think anything like that that's a next year type of situation. But there's a lot of potential here. So it sounds, while it sounds like it's kind of like, oh, we're not doing this right, we're not doing this right. This group could be really, really good, and I think that they're still kind of finding their way, and coach is still trying to figure out who to play.
Yeah.
When you have as many kids on the roster as what we have, it's sometimes a struggle to figure out exactly who should be playing with who and how much. And so I think that's still kind of a feeling out process, which I think we thought that was going to be the case at the beginning of the year.
Yep.
What we didn't think is we'd be 6-0 right now.
I know, yeah. Now, where they are right now and the way things look going forward, it is a very exciting time for the women's program. And, Scott, you had a chance to catch up with Coach Whitman earlier today.
Coach, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
A good week overall, 2-0, 2 Capital Athletic Conference wins. Let's go back to the Wesley game. It was a good way to start your conference year. What were your thoughts on the Wesley game?
Well, I thought the first half was pretty ugly. The second half was much better, and we settled down and we executed and just played together as a team. And, that's how I expect us to play. So I think not playing a game for 10 days probably had some effect on that. But, I thought the second half we really played well and got contributions from a lot of different people.
You go down to Southern Virginia on Saturday. Kind of a sloppy game, but it's kind of to be expected with that. What were your thoughts on that game?
Yeah, Southern Virginia, we expected to be pressed for 40 minutes, which we were, and I thought we handled their pressure extremely well. In the full court, it was in the half court that, we turned the ball over probably a lot more than I would have liked to have seen, but, we knew it would be that type of game, and, ultimately, I thought, again, we got good contribution off our bench, and, Sam Ruse was great on the boards, and, we got the win and we got out of there. That's what I wanted. It's a long trip down there, and, it was an overnight trip for us, and but we were prepared, and I thought our players handled it extremely well, and, again, the turnovers are just something that we're going to have to continue to work through.
It's got to be kind of exciting. You're sitting here 6-0, yet you haven't done a real good job of taking care of the ball, haven't shot the ball particularly well, and certainly haven't shot the ball well from the free throw line. In a way, is it kind of exciting to think that this team can continue to get even better?
Oh, absolutely. It's hard to believe that we're 6-0. It is just amazing to me that we can shoot that poorly from the free throw line. It's very frustrating to me, but we are kind of winning ugly, but I would rather win ugly than lose ugly. So, I'll take the win, but we have to continue to improve in those areas. And we've tried a little bit of everything with the free throws. We've had them, record 100 free throws, how many they make. We've ignored it altogether. We've, tried to just shoot our 10, 10, 10 throughout practice. It's really a mental thing right now because, we have good shooters on our team. And certainly in practice they make their free throws. So now they just need to, transfer that into the games. And, it's pressure, it's focus, it's all that stuff. So,
well, and you have kids that have a track record of success. So it's
absolutely,
it's coming. It's just a matter of them getting.
Yeah, and I definitely know we shoot the ball a lot better than we are, especially from long range. I think we have some really good 3-point shooters, but again, that just has to. It'll come, and I'm hoping it's going to come this week because we need it. With Goucher being a much improved team, and obviously Mary Washington on Saturday, we're going to have to shoot the ball well in both of those games. Goucher plays a lot of zone, very aggressive matchup 2-3, but we're going to have to be able to hit shots from the perimeter. They have a 6'5" kid inside defensively, so we're not going to get a lot of easy baskets in the middle, which we've been seeing the last couple games.
With this week coming up, 2 games in a week, it's the last week of classes. Is it hard for the kids? Is this one of the harder weeks of the year for the kids?
I don't think so. I mean, I think, in the classroom they have a lot of work that's piling up, but they were off yesterday. They're going to be off on Thursday. Thursday's just a lifting day, and this is kind of the home stretch of the first third of the season, and they know that. And I think being 6-0, I think it's a great atmosphere at practice. It's certainly a happy atmosphere. So I think they're motivated to come to practice and continue to work on the things we need to work on. But we have certain goals in mind, and I'd really like to be undefeated going into Saturday's conference game. So again, Goucher is going to be our next focus, and everything we do in the next 2 days of practice are going to be geared towards beating Goucher.
You're a little over 1/5 of the way through the year. What's one thing that's pleasantly surprised you so far with this team?
I think the way that we've been able to defend. We've kind of changed our defensive philosophy this year, and for us, I think it's been a good thing. We've been able to get good rebounding position and rebound the ball extremely well. I mean, that's what's been winning games for us, really, has been defense and rebounding. And I think the play of Morgan Keeney has been very key for us. I was hoping that she would step up this year, and we saw glimpses of Sam Mosniak. I'd like to see her continue to step up and be a factor for us. So I've been really pleased with them. Sam Ruse has been steady. I think our leadership's been great this year so far, and even like Julianne Lambert, the minutes she's been giving us have been really solid, and you need that from a senior captain. So I think that she's done a great job of embracing her role and has played solid minutes for us.
All right, good luck this week, and we'll probably talk to you sometime next week. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, Scott, thank you, Coach, and Wednesday against Goucher. That's again a 5:55 airtime for us. Tip time is at 6, so hopefully we see some Spartan fans out for the non-conference game, and then obviously never look ahead, and I get that from all my coaches' interviews over the years. I'm very sensitive to not look ahead, but obviously the big one this week is Saturday.
Sure, and that's that's normal to kind of focus more on conference games. However, we'll be ready to play on Wednesday. I'd be stunned if we didn't come out and play well. And we've played pretty well at home so far, so it would be nice to see. Hey, basically just go out and play. If you get the opportunity, I think one of the things that's key when you have as many kids as we do on the team, that a kid gets an opportunity, take advantage of that opportunity. I thought Maz took an advantage of the opportunity on Wednesday to play well against Wesley. Kids like that, look at what Morgan Keeney's done with the opportunity. She's been great. She's been really, really good.
And she earned the starting job.
She earned the
before
starting.
It wasn't given to her.
No question. I mean, obviously Sam's played great all year. Leads us in pretty much everything, but Morgan's playing really well. I think if we can get Sarah going a little bit more, Wags is starting to get going a little bit more. We get those. We start clicking a little bit more. I think we could be a pretty dangerous team. So, the best thing is just go out and win. And I'll tell you what, if we go 25-0 with 25 ugly wins, I'll sign up for that every day of the week. So it doesn't have to be pretty sometimes. It just has to be effective, and you got to score one more point than the other team, and that'll enable you to keep on winning. So hopefully they can do that and continue to do what they've been doing well, and add some things and maybe clean up some things they haven't.
Well, no doubt the state of the women's basketball team very, very exciting as it is right now, and two great topics to start off this show with Allie Posey being named an All-American and talking about unbeaten women's basketball as well. We will recap the week for the men. Coming up in our next segment, we also have wrestling and swimming interviews with coaches Bastrus and Doyle coming up later in the program, respectively, as well. Coach Hunter joins us in the next segment, so stay tuned for that. And we'll continue with your College Spartan Sports Weekly right after this.
Hey, Dad, what's with all these papers and stuff?
Well, you're starting college in 2 weeks, and I'm doing some homework, cramming to find a college loan to pay the rest of your tuition. I'm afraid it's going to be an all-nighter, honey.
I wanted to talk to you about that, Dad. I think a student choice loan with York Educational FCU would be the best way to go.
YEFCU? We got a mortgage through them. Great rate, and I love the fact that they have free bill payer, but student loan?
Yeah, YEFCU student choice loan pays for my cost of attendance at York College or most other four-year schools, minus the financial aid I already received. The student choice loan would take care of tuition, books, room and board, all that stuff. But the best part is that YEFCU student choice loan is a one-time application. That means next year, I just tell them how much I need, and they'll disperse the money right to the school.
So we don't have to reapply every year?
Nope, so step away from the homework, Dad. A student choice loan is the best move we can make.
So we're not staying up all night? Oh, did I ever tell you about the night I did an entire term paper in one night with an old typewriter and no correction ribbon?
What's a typewriter?
York Educational Federal Credit Union, 1601 South Queen Street, York. Apply online at yefcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA.
Blazing fast service for all of your wipeouts. OSS Health Urgent Care will take care of all of your muscular and skeletal sprains, pops, twists, and breaks in minutes, not hours. Open 7 days a week for your urgent orthopedic needs. Now at two convenient locations, 1855 Powder Mill Road in York and 856 Century Drive in Mechanicsburg. Visit us online at osshealth.com. OSS Health Urgent Care. Experience you can trust.
Security in life isn't something you just wish for. You build it with a strong financial plan. Start with Northwestern Mutual. Together, we'll design a disciplined and balanced approach to financial security, because reaching your goals is something we both want to work toward. To learn more, contact me, Dan McGarry, at my office on the square in York. Look for the blue awnings. Who's helping you build your financial future? The Northwestern Mutual Life Insurance Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
There's no running from it. Tax season will be here before you know it. The professionals at Frank Storm & Company can help alleviate the headache. Voted one of the best for 14 years by the York Dispatch readers for both your personal and business tax needs, Frank Storm & Company makes the process easy. Payrolls, sales tax, compilations for your business, in addition to your personal tax service. Call today to set up your appointment at one of three convenient locations: York, Dallastown, and Hanover. Committed to personalized quality service, Frank Storm & Company. Visit online at frankstormandco.com.
Your home for York's home team. The York College Spartans play here. Sports Radio 1350, WOYK, York.
On York College Spartan Sports Weekly, we transition to men's basketball here in this segment. And Scott, we really cannot overstate how well they played on Wednesday to beat a very talented Wesley team at home. Saturday, unfortunately, a loss at Southern Virginia, and they're still looking for their first win in the old chili barn down there. And apparently it's called Buena Vista. I've always called it Buena Vista, but I don't know.
Actually, I heard the reason behind this, that back in Civil War times or something back in our history, that a lot of towns in Virginia were purposely mispronounced so that foreigners coming in would pronounce it like it was supposed to be or what it looks to be, and then you could tell who was from the outside, so to speak. How true that is, I have no earthly idea. But that's I was told that by somebody, and I looked at them a little silly, kind of like you're looking at me right now. But that's okay. So
clearly, I was an outsider the other day.
Well, I think that's what I called it. I didn't. Hey. So anyhow, I'll tell you what. I think at the end of the year, you're going to look at Southern Virginia's record at home in the conference, and it's going to be pretty good. They're not a bad team. They're not real deep, but what they, I think they have 5 good players who can make life difficult, especially playing in that place. It's not ideal. It's a long ride for almost everybody. Mm-hmm. It's a long ride for us. It's a long ride. It's just, it's hard to get to. So there's going to be a lot of people that go down there and lose. So, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to see them be around 500 just because of how many, they have to play 9 home games. So I think they're going to give people a hard time there. Now, I didn't think we played very well in watching the game. I thought that 12-minute stretch to start the second half really killed us. But that being said, we battled back. We're in the game. If we don't have 2 turnovers late, we probably win that basketball game. So the progress, we've gone down there twice and absolutely gotten housed. So to go down there and be in the game at the end of the game when things really aren't going right is a good sign. And that's, Coach talks about the process all the time, and this is part of the process, learning to win on the road. We've been great at home. I mean, we've been downright dominant at home. But the 2 losses are on the road. So we have to learn to be
late turnovers.
With late turnovers. So we've got to learn to be a little bit better and do things a little bit better. And we'll be fine. This team is continuing to evolve and continuing to improve. So, there's no shame in going on the road and losing to Messiah, which is we never play well there. We haven't played well there in years. And then going on the road and losing at Southern Virginia. I mean, there are some tough places to play in our conference. St. Mary's is tough. Christopher Newport's tough. Mary Washington's tough. Salisbury's tough. There's a lot of tough places to play. Mm-hmm. So, we got to get a little tougher, got to have a little bit different mindset and really understand that you got to take care of the basketball. And I thought that's one thing that really, really hurt us late. The inability to score hurt us early in the second half. And from what I could tell, it looked like the game was officiated 2 completely different ways. So, it's hard when, you're doing things that you want to do and you're getting the calls, and then all of a sudden you're doing those same things and you're not getting the calls. So, however that works, it is what it is, but that's stuff you have to be able to adjust to.
Well, if you look at it, biggest picture possible, they are 5-2 right now and have already matched the win total from last year and the year before.
And we'd be lying if we said at the beginning of the year somebody said you're going to be 5-2 through 7 games. We've been like, okay,
yeah.
Where do we sign up? Same for the women. I think when you look at these 2 teams and the progress that each of these teams are making, it's really good, and it's really great for the future, and it's really great for now. Let's be honest. I mean, I think we've had a lot more fun already this year than we've had in the last 2 years combined, and it's fun watching a group of guys develop and grow, and they've been doing a really good job. So while it is disappointing to lose a game like we did Saturday, it's also encouraging because we're in the game. We could have, I'll tell you what, even from the beginning of the game, it looked like we were going to get blown out of the building. Yeah. And we just kind of came back and went on that big run. That might have been another key, too. At the end of the first half, when we could have built the lead a little bit more, we stopped scoring, and they cut into it. And, instead of a 12-point lead, it's a 6-point lead, and that makes a big difference. So, all these things that can be – this is nothing that can't be improved upon. So I think that's a positive thing as well.
Yeah. Honestly, looking at it as an outsider at the start of the week, I would have thought that Wednesday would have been a challenge and Saturday might be a win. It ended up being the opposite. Mm-hmm. You beat Wesley on Wednesday and unfortunately lose Saturday. But 5-2 is a good place to be. This coming Saturday, it's the only game of the week for the men against Mary Washington. It'll be the last game until after Christmas. And it won't be an easy one by any stretch on Saturday.
No.
That's going to be a battle. But
and let's face it, every game in our conference is going to be a battle.
It really is.
There really are no games where you look at and going in that, hey, we should win that game.
If Southern Virginia was picked 10th by people in the conference,
yeah,
I don't buy that for one. Having
well,
seen them
and
in
you
got
to, I don't put a whole lot of stock in the preseason rankings.
That means nothing. But
it really kind of is. It's
a lot of it's kind of carryover stuff from the year before, but
it's garbage. It really is. It's pointless.
Yeah.
In other words, because it really doesn't mean anything. It's what are the results on the floor. So you look, Mary Washington, they're sitting at 2-0, 5-2 overall. Their results are pretty good this year. They're 2 losses overall. As I pull this up quickly, they beat the tar out of Randolph-Macon. They lost to Lynchburg by 5. They pounded Shenandoah. They lost to Hampton-Sydney, also a really good team, and then have won 3 straight, including a 10-point win over St. Mary's at home and a 21-point win over Penn State Harrisburg. So their 2 conference games have come at home, and they've played pretty well. So I think it'll be very interesting to see. They've only played 2 road games all year, and they're 1-1. So it's going to be and they don't play again until until they play us on Saturday. So they're off this week as well. So it should be, I think it's going to be a great matchup. I think it's going to be a really, really good game.
Two young teams.
Two young teams that are building, up and coming. Stats are pretty similar in terms of what they're averaging a game. And, they played up probably a little quicker tempo than we do. Still shoot a bunch of threes. That hasn't changed a whole lot. I think it's going to be a great game Saturday. I would be surprised actually if we didn't have two, everybody likes to call them instant classics right now, but I'd be surprised if we didn't have two really good games.
Oh, there have been some classic matchups over the years between those two. Well, and earlier today, Scott, you had a chance to catch up with Matt Hunter as well.
Coach, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Well, let's talk a little bit about this past week. A highlight on Wednesday, I thought we played really well against Wesley. What were your thoughts after the win against the Wolverines?
Yeah, I was really impressed with our team Wednesday night. I thought we played an excellent all-around game for, 35 minutes. We really competed really hard. We did a great job defensively, took them out of what they wanted to do, and we were very, very efficient offensively.
Seems like we've played really well at home this year. Is that something that to kind of build on to say, hey, when people come to our place, that we have a great chance of winning?
Yeah, it's something I was actually thinking about it this morning as we were driving in, and it's kind of the nature of a younger team. You're really good when everything is familiar to you and the baskets look the same, and so it's something that, hopefully, in league play, it's really important to take care of business at home, and if you do that, you give yourself a good chance come February.
Went on the road on Saturday, tough game against Southern Virginia, but not like past games of Southern Virginia where we just haven't played well and gotten blown out. This was a game that went right down to the wire.
Yeah, we competed very hard. We played extremely hard. We just didn't play at the level that we wanted to. We didn't execute quite cleanly. We didn't make shots at the level we had been. So just, again, another step in the developmental process for our team, having to figure out how to go on the road and be in a tough, competitive environment and have the game down to the very end and make the winning plays.
Now, you have a week off until Mary Washington. Is this part of the season where it's good to have some time off to kind of recoup a little bit and prepare for Mary Washington?
Yeah, we're actually taking a day off today. We haven't had 2 days off in a row since we started, minus Thanksgiving. So it's good for the guys. Recharge a little bit. Obviously, we have a small roster, so it's good for them to take a step away, get themselves focused academically. It's an important week as you wind down the semester, and then everyone can kind of just take a deep breath and relax, and then towards the second half of the week, we'll focus on Mary Washington.
Now the players have off, but the coaches never really have off now that high school ball has started. What are some of the things that you do in addition to all the on-the-floor and practice preparation and video preparation? What are some of the things that you're starting to do now that high school hoops has started in our area?
Yeah, it was good to go down to Southern Virginia early in the season, so now we don't have to go back down there in February. But it also stunk because we missed opening weekend tournaments and that kind of stuff around here, which are always fun to be at as you kind of kick off the season locally. But, so now, pretty much on a nightly basis, we're out watching games and evaluating and working on finishing up this year's recruiting class, which we're in a really good spot with and very far ahead. But now getting started on the next recruiting class as well and identifying talent and players, and really it's just a never-ending cycle, and one lays right on top of the next.
Is that something you enjoy as a coach, getting out and getting to see a bunch of different players play?
Absolutely. I coach to be around people, and when you recruit, you get to meet all kinds of different people, all kinds of different families, and it gives me an opportunity to interact and create relationships, and that's what this is all about for me. So I love it, and I don't see how you could do it if you didn't, because it's incredibly time-consuming as well.
All right, good luck this weekend on Saturday. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, thanks a lot, Scott and Darrell.
All right, thank you, Coach. And again, Scott, to wrap up the segment, the men Saturday at home against Mary Washington, and even off the loss on Saturday, 5-2, 1-1 in the conference, and things looking on the up and up. And you hear Coach talking about the recruiting process as well, which is a big reason his and his staff's efforts over the last few years as to why the things are trending in the upward direction.
Coach Hunter works his tail off. I mean, the guy is relentless. He works hard. His staff works hard. It is, it's nice to see him finally getting some return on the investment. And he knew it was gonna be a process, and he knew it was gonna, we're gonna be taking our lumps and playing a lot of young guys. But that's starting to change. And hey, we got a long way to go. We've played 7 games out of 25, so there's still a long way to go. But we're going in the right direction. You can see the progress. The kids can see the progress. The people who come to games can see the progress. We talked about it over the break. We're going to play a ton of close games the rest of the year. There's not going to be a whole lot of games where there's more than a 7-point margin probably. And you're going to win some and you're going to lose some. But the idea of being in games and being competitive and being right there, I think is really it's fun to watch. It's things might not always go your way, but you know that those guys are out there fighting and clawing and giving themselves a chance to win. I think that's a pretty encouraging sign.
And being in that many close games is only going to benefit these guys.
Oh,
going
no
forward.
question. Down the line, that's going to be a big thing. Southern Virginia did some things to us last week that I think we're going to start seeing more. I think we're going to start seeing more people double Dalton a lot and force our shooters to beat it. Now, I feel very comfortable with the kids we have on the perimeter shooting the ball. We shoot it very well on Saturday. But I think the ability is there to certainly make people pay for that. And if Dalton's so unselfish, he's the kind of kid that if his teammates are open, he'll find them. He'll make them pay. So I think that's just we got to shoot the ball a little bit better. Obviously, Scamuffo's been playing fantastic basketball. We got to get a couple other guys shooting from the perimeter, and we do that, I think we have a chance to be pretty good.
Yeah. Well, the week ahead, again, the women on Wednesday at home against Goucher, and then both teams have that doubleheader. 1 for the women, 3 for the men. Those are the times on Saturday against Mary Washington. The Grumbacher Center is maybe still a buzz after all of the wrestling action from this past weekend. The New Standard Invitational, one of the finest wrestling get-togethers in all of the land, took place inside the M&T Bank Fieldhouse on Saturday, and we've got the full recap on that. Dwayne Bastress will join us on the upcoming segment as we talk some grappling, so stay tuned for that. You're listening to York College Spartan Sports Weekly here on Sports Radio 1350.
Turn this on.
The Rich Eisen Show.
He is unbelievable.
Rich Eisen.
Let's go to the phone lines. They are lit. Catherine in South Carolina. Can I help you?
Yes, I am having emotional distress.
Don't.
I'm going to sue the Jones family.
Don't.
This is crazy. It's the most stupid, idiotic thing. The Jones are screwing this up. And I am sick. I've left work. I'm nauseous. He's strung us out on DeMarco.
Well, what about the idea that anybody could run behind that offensive line? Catherine, you don't buy that one?
DeMarco is family. He and Tony and Jason do everything together. He's family. I just started to be a Cowboys fan again, and happiness has just plunged to despair. What the Jones has done to my emotional state, they should be sued.
Don't go litigious on me here, okay?
This is the Rich Eisen Show.
Sports Radio 1350 WOYK. First in York, first in sports. York Revolution Baseball plays here. Catch all 140 games of accurate reporting.
Actually, is that Travis Scott behind the plate now?
It's been Travis Scott behind the plate all night.
Are you serious? Not on the lineup sheet, it's not.
Unbiased observation.
Oh, there's a big flash.
But they just stand there.
Yeah.
Not the player, to be honest.
Maybe they can't see that either.
And mature professional commentary.
It's nice to have you back, Ray. You were away, yesterday. Now whines, in the pitch. It is outside. Who's listening in the clubhouse tonight,
My money's on Rami Lewis. Yeah.
I can't do it anymore.
Revs Baseball, all season on Sports Radio 1350 WOYK. First in York, first in sports. We are Screamin' Green. How about you? The York College Spartans are on Sports Radio 1350, WOYK.
Back here on York College Spartan Sports Weekly, we shift gears to the wrestling mats, which... is it still a buzz over there, Scott? That was a busy weekend.
It was a really busy weekend. It's calmed down a little bit since then.
Well, tell us about the new Standard Invitational. I mean, I know it's one of the best wrestling meets there is. It's
pretty impressive. 16 teams, which makes for about 320 wrestlers.
Wow.
8 mats. 9 ranked teams out of the 16 are in the top 30. 31 ranked individual wrestlers.
Wow.
It's about as good as it gets on the East Coast. There's not a whole lot of tournaments that are better than this one, and certainly it was great for our guys to get the experience to play. We ended up finishing 6th, which I think Coach was a little bummed out about that. I think he was hoping for something a little bit better. But for the most part, we had 2 guys finish 3rd, in Ryan Flynn and Mike Spencer. So, all in all, I thought it was a pretty good weekend, and it ran a little bit longer than we hoped. It was a long day, but it was also something that it's great to host something of that caliber and to have it here. Like I said, this is the 7th year, sponsored by New Standard Corporation. It's been a great relationship for us to be with them, and when you can bring something of this quality to your own place, it's pretty cool.
Well, next up on the cavalcade of coaches here on this week's show is Dwayne Bastris.
Coach, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
A busy weekend done in the books. What's it like to run a tournament that's this big that we run every year?
Each year it's getting easier. But with this level of competition, I think we had 16 teams and around 305 wrestlers, so it's a lot to make sure everything, the logistics is the big part. Just getting everything ready to go for Saturday. So it helps being full-time to make sure I get all the paperwork done and all that stuff. But the other coaches from the other teams work great with us and understand, hey, it's an opportunity for a bunch of their kids to get matches, so they understand it might be a little bit longer and bigger tournament than they're used to.
How cool is it to be able to have the caliber of teams that we have coming? 9 of the 16 teams were ranked. Over 30 wrestlers were ranked individually. What's it like to be able to bring all those teams to York?
Oh, it's huge. It's big for our program because it helps with this recruiting, telling them, look, you're basically going to wrestle a mini national tournament in the month of December. And we use it as a gauge to kind of see where we are nationally against some of these tough individuals, team-wise. But each year I get emails from coaches or calls, hey, we want in. So to have 9 ranked teams here this year, and that's all the comments I kept hearing about on Saturday was this tournament just got a lot tougher, inviting just those 2 other teams who were both ranked in the country. So it's good. It's getting its name out there. It's growing every year. So it's exciting to have it on campus in this great facility. It definitely helps.
After this weekend, where are we at as a team? Where are the Spartans at as a team right now?
I think this first semester was a lot of our guys had some growing pains, you could say. Some of our other guys I think have adjusted well, especially a couple of our freshmen like Frankie Krause at 65. He's starting to get that confidence, hey, I can compete at this level. And we got a couple other guys like Big Mike Spencer at heavyweight. He this weekend wrestled unbelievable, and I think he's starting to get back into the flow of things coming off an injury. Flynn, Mr. Consistent, always there. So I think some of our guys, it's good. As a team-wise, we're so young, and it's hard to gauge kind of where we're at. I think dual meet-wise, there's a couple of dual meets we lost first semester that probably could have went our way. If we had probably a little more mat experience. So I think the big test for us, and I tell our guys that second semester is the one that matters the most. And we're going to kind of find out what we are made of as a team right off the bat when we go up to Budway Hill and for that dual meet tournament. But I still think there's a lot of room for improvement. Some individuals, but more so as a team, I could still think that we could probably be a top 15, top 10 caliber team if all the pieces fall in place and guys start to achieve what we think they can.
And you guys are off for about a month from competition. What is important for the guys to go out and do in this next 3 to 4 week period to make sure that they're ready to go come the beginning of January?
Well, the big thing will be this week. We'll spend a lot of week on technique and just keep focusing on what we kind of were lacking from first semester. Big thing is their strength, trying to increase their strength a little bit because they're not cutting in weight as much anymore, so now they can get in a weight room and try to get stronger. I think the other thing is just making sure their conditioning stays up. We'll be off of practice probably for around 2 weeks, so they'll have 2 weeks that they got to be working out on their own. I think once we get that and under control, I think guys should be good to go. But that's the big thing, strength and keeping their weights under control, and then when they're back home, just working on little technique stuff to get ready.
Now you guys, because you don't play, how much recruiting gets done during this next 3 to 4 week period for you guys?
This is probably, besides like the state tournaments, this is our only shot to get out to some of the holiday tournaments. There's a couple local holiday tournaments that we have a bunch of recruits wrestling in that we'll try to get out to. So a lot of our recruiting will happen during this time. I'll be able to watch more wrestling, make sure, like I said, I get out to see some kids that we really would like to have. So, I mean, I would say this, and then towards the end of the year are probably our 2 big recruiting opportunities.
Plus you get an opportunity to spend time with that little girl, right?
Yes. So that'll be exciting. I'm looking forward to that sometime, and she'll be excited, I'm sure, not to have Dad come home right before bedtime. So, but yeah, it's good. She was here Saturday, which was awesome.
Good. Well, it's a family affair. The whole family was here on Saturday as well. So,
yeah.
All right, Coach, good luck. Happy holidays. We hope to speak to you when we get back in January, and hope you can have a great holiday period and enjoy the heck out of it.
All right, thank you.
All right, and thank you again, Coach. And Scott, a long break for them, but one of our very solid programs at York College.
Oh, no question. They have until Friday, January 8th. They travel to the Bud White Hill Duels, which is traditionally one of the tougher events they go in, and then they head to Hopkins and Penn College before they finally come back home on Saturday, the 23rd, against Elizabethtown. So they got quite a rough road ahead of them. But the good news is this team has proven under Coach Bastress that they continue to improve as the year goes along. So it's good to kind of see where they're at right now through the tournament and say, it's probably one of the toughest events that they're going to have all year. So it's kind of out of the way now. Guys kind of have a better basis for where they are, and I would expect them to be really good down the stretch. So we mentioned Cora at the end, baby Cora Bastress.
Yeah.
She's going to be very happy to have her dad home. So Mother April says she's a daddy's girl. So
nice.
Yeah. So it's great. It's scary when you see all these former student athletes. April played field hockey for us, and obviously Dwayne having kids. It's kind of crazy. Makes me feel really old.
Well, good for them there to get the next month or best part of that together. And we will head into our next segment here. And making his debut on the program is new swimming coach Greg Doyle.
Yep,
great
to have him join us, and we'll kind of talk about that backstory a little bit. It's pretty interesting.
All right, quick break here. We'll talk some swimming next here on York College Spartan Sports Weekly.
At Northwestern Mutual, we take a disciplined and balanced approach to financial planning. Together, we'll help build your financial future on time-tested principles, not market trends, so you can take advantage of life's opportunities. To learn more, contact me, Dan McGarry, at my office on a square in York. Look for the blue awnings. Who's helping you build your financial future? The Northwestern Mutual Life Insurance Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
At OSS Health, our highly trained physicians are on the field, in the training room, at home games, or away. From preseason physicals to postseason surgery, we're on the sidelines so athletes don't have to be, getting you back in the game. When it comes to sports medicine, we're the ones you've trusted for 30 years. OSS Health Sports Medicine, experience you can trust. Visit us online at osshealth.com.
Your home for the Spartans. Sports Radio 1350 WOYK.
Every time I see the Geico commercial now, it's fantastic. It's almost like Pavlov's dog. I'm like, oh, we're in the last segment already? Oh, wait a second.
You know,
it's not exactly happening.
You know, on Wayne's show, it was during football season. Merkel and Mailman went together like, peanut butter and jelly. He had all those analogies. Well, we can throw York College Spartans and Europe in there. They go together. They have for years.
They go together quite
Used to be our starting lineup intros.
They used to be, yes. Thank goodness we're not
back
doing
in the 80s.
Yeah. Oh, it was in the 90s. It was in the 90s. Thank goodness we don't do that anymore. So, yeah.
We have come to the 21st century since
finally,
then.
dragged us kicking and screaming the whole way.
Yeah. Well, and again, making his debut on this program is swimming coach Greg Doyle, and both the men's and women's teams were in the pool over the weekend as well. Scott, the busy weekend, how'd they perform?
Really well. They went to the TCNJ Line Invitational, and both teams fared quite well. The women finished fourth overall, and the men finished fourth. I'm sorry. The men finished fourth. The women finished third at the TCNJ Invitational. Maddie Mann, the freshman, who's been just simply outstanding, picked up 2 more wins, a second place. She was awesome this weekend. In talking to Coach, she's really has an opportunity as a freshman to go to the NCAA championships and should do very well at CACs. And on the men's side, Kyle Walthall, who continues to be outstanding, picked up a pair of second place finishes and was on a number of relay teams for the Spartans this week, so good showing for him. So they're going to be off until the 15th now, but it's when I say off, that only means from competition, because they're going to have a pretty grueling month on tap as they do their winter training, and really this is the period of time where they do a ton of yardage and really look to gain that strength and edge heading into the second semester and towards CAC championships. So Coach Doyle has been around for he got here before the Dickinson meet on the 21st, so I guess his first day of work was the 16th of November, and he's kind of jumped in with 2 feet, pardon the pun, but he's been great, and he brings a lot of enthusiasm to the program. For those of you that don't know, Coach Kurtz decided to step down before the season starts. She pursued some other professional opportunities closer to her house. She has 2 little ones and was driving from Reading each day, so it was a challenge, and certainly understanding that in the family dynamic, she decided to step away. So we were without a coach for the first quarter of the season, but the kids responded really well, and our assistant coaches did a fantastic job of handling the team. And it was one of those situations that it's not ideal, but you managed to deal with it. And Coach Doyle is going to be great. He came from Limestone, had his team down there, was the head coach. It's not often you get one head coach to go from a program to another, but he really is incredibly enthusiastic and very excited about the direction of the program. And he's been recruiting already. He's obviously been coaching the kids, so he's doing a fantastic job, and he's all about making York College a destination spot for highly talented swimmers.
Well, I'm sure a big highlight for him so far on the job was his debut on this program.
Oh, I'm sure he is probably sitting by the radio right now, just in dire anticipation of listening to himself on the radio.
Without further ado, Scott, you had a chance to catch up with Coach earlier today.
Coach, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You've kind of had to jump right in. You've joined the team early in the season now, and you've had a couple weeks to be with the kids. How's it going so far?
It's going well. It's been a busy few weeks, but the team is adapting well, and I'm very happy where we are and moving forward with the future of the program.
got an opportunity to go to TCNJ this week with a big meet. Let's talk about the guys first. How do you think the guys performed this weekend?
Guys did well. It's a very, very deep field of swimmers. TCNJ is a very well-rounded team who is always a top 20 in Division III. So our men, they fared well. I think we had some great swims and many personal best times. It's a good point of the season for me to see where they are and things that we need to work on moving forward now.
Now you're off from competition for about a month. What kind of goes on during this month until you actually swim again in the meet?
Grueling practices. It's going to be a tough few weeks ahead of us, as they prepare with finals, and then heading off to a winter training trip, which we swim twice a day, long course meters, and it's really the peak of our season. After that, we prepare for our championship season.
Now, where will you be heading this year?
We're heading to Bradenton Beach. We'll be staying in Anna Marie Island and training in Bradenton Beach. So hopefully the Florida weather this year is warmer than in the years past.
Good. Let's talk about the women. They had a really good meet. Ended up finishing 4th overall. Really kind of made a push on Sunday. Talk a little bit about their performances.
Now, the women, the women's field was definitely talented. I think our women really stepped up to the challenge and competed well. We had some new school records by Maddie Mann, and then a first place finish by Casey. So I think that the women's team, is headed in the right direction. And again, the same as the men, just kind of getting through these next few months and preparing for CACs.
Maddie Mann has really made a significant impact on the team early. How good can she be?
It's really the sky's the limit. I've talked with Maddie today, and the goals that she has, are reasonable and doable. So I think where she was this past weekend, the mindset that she has heading into the conference championships, she can really be that next elite swimmer, top 8 and qualifying for the national meet.
How much fun has it been to kind of just head right in with the kids and be able to kind of get to know them on the fly as you're going along?
It's been fun. It's been fun. Right now I'm the nice guy. I'm the new guy. So, we'll get to work and the recruiting and just really forming this program to be at the next level and continue that success.
How important is a trip like you guys are going to take in a couple weeks? How important is that, not only team-wise, but as a recruiting aspect and as a training tool?
Oh, it's very important. I think this trip, not only for the mental picture, for the training. We're getting about 12,000 meters in a day. It's really, like I said, the peak of our training. And then with recruiting, it's a selling point, to be able to go on a training trip and to be able to practice as much as we do to prepare for that championship. It helps and it sells itself.
All right, Coach. Good luck. Happy holidays. Hope you enjoy the time away a little bit. And we'll talk to you once we get started in January.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Coach. And we will have all of those coaches on as the winter sports seasons progress. And Scott, thank you very much. Good week and a very productive week for every team. And this coming week, the only events are the basketball games, which, for the women, Wednesday night at 6 at home against Goucher, and then a conference doubleheader Saturday at 1 against Mary Washington. We'll be there.
Yeah, it was a great week, and certainly, hopefully, we can have an equally great week this week as well, as we're kind of wrapping it up, heading into exams and heading into Christmas time, my favorite time of the year.
Awesome. And we will be back here next Monday, of course, same time, same place. Up next, Sixers basketball. They host the Spurs. Maybe they'll win that one tonight. And then we'll join.
Yeah. Okay, I keep thinking that. Hey, they got to win. Come on.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah, they're in a lot of games.
Sure. It's a building process, Darrell.
That's right. Together we build. And
draft pick after draft pick after draft pick after draft pick. Are they going to own the whole draft by the end of the year?
Well, unfortunately, they still have to have those ping pong balls bounce their way. I mean,
if you have like 14 of the 28 picks and 7 of the top 10, you might have an opportunity to get a couple top picks.
Some are protected, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, make better trades.
Yeah, but now Sixers basketball coming up. We are in the rebuild with them, and then we'll have Monday Night Football in progress after that. So the sports coverage continues. Thanks a lot for listening. Right here on Sports Radio 1350 WOYK.
Your home for York's home team. The York College Spartans play here. Sports Radio 1350 WOYK, York.